What if I told you that right now, miles beneath the freezing, pitch-black surface of the ocean, lies a graveyard of steel guarding a fortune so massive it could alter the global economy? We are not talking about a mythical pirate galleon from centuries ago. We are talking about a massive modern vessel of war and trade, a mechanical leviathan that vanished beneath the waves carrying billions of dollars in pure silver. This is the chilling, heart-stopping reality of a ship that sailed into the abyss and took its secrets to the darkest depths of our planet. Imagine standing on the deck of that colossal freighter. The wind is howling, tearing at your clothes. The freezing spray of the merciless ocean is stinging your face. You know, and every single man on board knows, that deep within the iron belly of your ship rests an unimaginable treasure. Tons upon tons of silver ingots, stacked like bricks, meant to fund a desperate, devastating global conflict. But you also know something else, something far more terrifying. You know that beneath the dark, churning water, invisible predators are hunting you. Silent, metallic assassins armed with explosives, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. You are completely alone, separated from your protective fleet. The engines are struggling, starving for fuel. The ship is slowing down, becoming nothing more than a colossal sitting duck in a vast, empty wasteland. And time is rapidly running out. This was the exact nightmare faced by the crew of the ill-fated merchant vessel, a ship whose name would echo through history as synonymous with immense wealth and unspeakable tragedy. To understand the sheer magnitude of this mystery, we have to travel back to a time of absolute global chaos. A time when empires clashed and the oceans were transformed into lethal, unpredictable battlegrounds. Every single ocean crossing was a terrifying gamble with death. The massive cargo ship was heavily loaded in a distant, sweltering tropical port. Its immense holds were stuffed to the brim with crucial supplies, tons of pig iron, vast quantities of tea, and the ultimate secret payload, over 7 million ounces of pure silver. It was a king's ransom, secured deep in the darkest hold, destined for the western mainland to finance the survival of an empire. The journey began under the shadow of constant paranoia. The ocean was not just a body of water, it was a sprawling, three-dimensional minefield. Hostile underwater vessels prowled the shipping lanes, turning the seas into an agonizing game of cat and mouse. To survive, merchant ships traveled in massive convoys, surrounded by heavily armed escorts. There was safety in numbers. But the ocean is a cruel and unpredictable beast, caring nothing for the wars of men. As the convoy pushed forward into the open sea, the sky turned a bruised, violent purple. The temperature plummeted rapidly. A catastrophic storm descended upon them, churning the sea into a frenzy of mountainous, crushing waves. The freighter, impossibly heavy with iron and silver, struggled violently against the colossal force of nature. Every wave that crashed against the hull demanded more power, more fuel to push through. Deep in the suffocating heat of the engine room, men shoveled coal with frantic desperation, their bodies coated in black dust and sweat. But it wasn't enough. The coal reserves were burning at an alarming, unsustainable rate. The captain was forced to make a heart-wrenching, terrifying decision. A decision that would ultimately seal their doom. They simply did not have enough fuel to keep pace with the protective convoy while fighting the raging storm. They had to break away. They had to leave the protective umbrella of the escort vessels and change course, aiming for a closer, alternative port, just to survive the vicious weather. The moment they drifted away from the convoy, an overwhelming sense of dread washed over the 85 men on board. They were now a lone, dark silhouette against a violently shifting horizon, a massive, slow-moving target carrying the wealth of an empire, completely exposed. The storm eventually began to break, but the true danger was only just beginning. It was a freezing, moonless night. The silence on the ocean was deafening, broken only by the rhythmic, exhausted churning of the ship's propellers pushing through the black water. Below the surface, unseen and unheard, a hostile submarine was silently stalking the waters. The enemy commander peered through the periscope, the crosshairs aligning perfectly with the massive dark shape of the isolated freighter. There was no warning, no alarm. just the sudden terrifying scream of a torpedo tearing through the water at lethal speed. The impact was apocalyptic. A deafening explosion shattered the night, ripping a massive, jagged hole into the side of the steel giant. The ship violently shuddered, groaning loudly as thousands of tons of freezing ocean water rushed into its belly. Absolute chaos erupted on the dark, tilted decks. Men screamed, scrambling blindly in the pitch-black night, slipping on freezing metal as the vessel immediately began to plunge into the abyss. There was no time to launch all the lifeboats. The radio operator desperately tapped out a frantic SOS, a final, fading cry for help into the dark void, before the power completely died. In less than 20 agonizing minutes, the colossal ship, along with its massive fortune in silver, was swallowed whole by the ocean, leaving only a swirling vortex of debris and desperate freezing men fighting for air. Out of 85 souls, only a handful managed to scramble into a single wooden lifeboat. What followed was a journey into the absolute darkest depths of human suffering. For 13 agonizing days, these men drifted in the freezing, unforgiving ocean. No food, scarcely any water. Every single day, the cruel cold and relentless exposure claimed another life. They watched their friends, their brothers, slip away into the silent, dark deep. When the lifeboat finally washed up on a rocky, desolate northern coast, the tragedy was absolute. Only one man remained alive, a single traumatized survivor to tell the horrifying tale of the doomed ship and its sunken treasure. And just like that, the ship vanished from the surface of the world, plummeting nearly 3 miles down into the darkest, most inaccessible depths of the ocean floor. It settled in a place where the pressure is so crushing it would instantly collapse a modern military submarine like an empty soda can. A place entirely devoid of sunlight, where strange alien creatures glide blindly through the freezing black water. For decades, the massive ship lay undisturbed, transforming slowly from a vessel of war into a rusted, ghostly tomb. But the world never forgot about the silver. 7 million ounces of it. A fortune of unimaginable proportions, simply waiting in the eternal dark. The sheer impossibility of recovering it only made the legend grow larger and more obsessive. It was resting deeper than the Titanic. The engineering required to even locate it, let alone bring up tons of heavy metal from a depth of nearly 16,000 feet, simply did not exist. It was a mystery deemed forever unsolvable, a permanent monument to the war, until the modern era. Decades later, a Bybee team of audacious deep-sea explorers and brilliant engineers decided to challenge the impossible. They deployed advanced, state-of-the-art sonar equipment, dragging it behind ships for months, blindly scanning the desolate, muddy bottom of the abyss. It was like searching for a needle in a continent-sized haystack, in total darkness, while looking through a tiny straw. But they possessed something the hostile submarines of the past didn't: relentless cutting-edge technology and an obsession with the lost silver. The tension aboard the modern research vessel was thick enough to cut with a knife. Days turned into weeks of staring at static screens. And then, a miraculous anomaly finally appeared on the sonar. A massive, unnatural, geometric shape resting on the sea floor. They held their breath as they sent down robotic eyes, highly specialized remote-operated vehicles built of titanium and syntactic foam, designed to withstand the bone-crushing pressure of 6,000 pounds per square inch. As the bright, piercing artificial lights of the robots cut through the eternal darkness, a ghostly silhouette emerged from the gloom. There it was, the lost titan of the deep. The colossal hull was torn open, a silent, rusted testament to the violent explosion of its final moments. But deep within the collapsed cargo holds, buried under decades of ocean sediment, something miraculous was waiting. The lights of the robots caught a dull, unmistakable gleam, stack upon stack of pure, uncorroded silver ingots. They had actually found the lost treasure. What followed was one of the most complex, dangerous, and awe-inspiring salvage operations in human history. Using sophisticated mechanical arms controlled by pilots sitting on a ship miles above, they meticulously painstakingly began to extract the silver. It was a delicate, high-stakes game. One wrong move, and the rusted structure could collapse, burying the treasure forever. Ton by ton, the lost wealth was hauled back into the light of day after decades in the absolute darkness. They recovered an astonishing amount of silver, breaking global world records for deep-water salvage. It was a breathtaking triumph of human ingenuity, a moment where science and sheer determination conquered the most hostile and unforgiving environment on Earth. But as the glittering heavy bars of silver were stacked on the decks of the modern salvage ships, a profound, chilling realization washed over the crew. They were not just lifting treasure. They were disturbing a sacred, silent graveyard. Every single ounce of that silver carried the invisible, heavy weight of the men who froze in the dark, the men who desperately fought the storm in the engine room, the solitary survivor who carried the white nightmare with him to his grave. The ship had finally surrendered its immense wealth, but the ocean always exacts a price. Was the staggering fortune worth the horrific cost of human lives? As we look at the gleaming, recovered silver today, shining after decades in the abyss, we are forced to wonder, what other unimaginable secrets, what other colossal fortunes and silent ghosts are still waiting down there, hidden in the pitch-black ocean trenches, just waiting to be found? The ocean is vast, dark, and holds its mysteries close, and some treasures, perhaps, are meant to.